Thank you for accepting our invite. And it's a
Thank
pleasure
you
to
for having
have
me.
you on our podcast. We want to get to know you. We heard you at um, the protest. We heard you at your music. We heard many things you were allowed with on social media. It was a pleasure to now to get to know more about Shaheen Samadi. It's great to have you on.
Thank you for having me.
So we already heard many music that you released. We see that, but we want to get to know more about Shine Samadi. How's Shine
Yeah.
Samadi off mic? That's what we want to know.
Yo, wow, I was expecting, okay, I mean, no, that's not true. I was hoping that this wouldn't be an interview where you'd be like, oh, like, what got you into music? How long have you been doing it for? And you know what I mean? Because I've done so many of those, but that I did not expect you to ask me that. So, how am I off the mic? People describe me as like very introverted. I'm a very like laid back and chill guy. A lot of people think that because I'm a rapper, I'm also kind of like an asshole, you know. They see like kind of like in my music, sometimes I sound very aggressive, or sometimes I say things that are controversial. Sometimes I say things that are offensive, but this is just art. And but it is a part of me. But outside of the mic, I'm actually like a really chill. I'm a pretty nice guy. I like to think so, at least, you know?
No, for sure. I mean, uh, you're giving more information about like who you aiming with your music because with what we understood with your music, that I mean, with Masa Amini, you were
Hmm.
pretty active. The incident that happened, the unfortunate incident that happened. You're using you. It seems like you're using your voice to give a message to people.
Yeah.
I want to know more about that because that's like what we realize like that's not your yeah that's basically what you're focusing
Yeah,
on.
sure.
That's what we're assuming.
Sh- Sure, man. Yeah, so hip hop has always been a social and political movement. It
Right.
started, 50 years ago as, as a response to an oppressive culture in America, right? Like, and hip hop has always been about raising black voices. And growing up listening to this, I always thought it was pretty awesome. Like, I thought it was really cool that they use art uh, to kind of fuel a revolution, I guess, you know? And I was really inspired by this. And truthfully, like when I started making music like half a lifetime ago, I wasn't that political. I wasn't talking about things like this. As I understood hip hop culture more and more, I thought it would be a waste to not use our skills to uplift people and to share stories. Um, I mean, look at what Tupac did, right? Look at what Kendrick Lamar is doing. Look at what Nas did in the 90s, like I was very like inspired by things like that. And Public Enemy, right? Like just like people talking about issues affecting their community and, bringing that to the booth. To me, that's the core of hip hop, and I wanted to honor that. So I was always fascinated by like listening to black artists sample black artists from like the 60s and the 50s and the 70s, right? Like that whole era. And I was thinking like one day, I was like, yo, like, what if I did that? Right? Like what if I took that but like with Persians? And it wasn't even inauthentic to me because I grew up being forced to kind of listen to it because my parents would listen to that shit, right? Like my parents would listen to Gugush, Hayade, Daryush, Moin, like these types of people. And so whether I liked it or not, it was a part of my life. It was like the background music to my life. And so if I didn't include that stuff in my artistry, it I feel like I would be kind of faking it in a way. It's like, yo, I can't not talk about this and I can't not express this. So that's why I love to sample like old school Iranian music. I have some producers help me with that. But but yeah.
Weren't you scared like the whole Iranian community? and Iranians are not really okay with hip hop, so like rap. So they're not like
Yeah.
Persians are like more like sunnati. They want to be traditional with everything. We should like describe like the
Yeah.
be able to
You
give that
know,
balance.
that's a good question. I think it depends on the audience because Persians are not Iranian community. We're not a monolith, right? Like we're so even though we have a lot of problems in our community, the problem that I've been facing personally, I don't think it has much to do with like being sonati and traditional. I think it's like a lot of people kind of judge you until you have more clout. Uh, and that's the case with a lot of communities, to be honest with you. That's not specifically to Iranians, but I do think with Iranians, it's like on steroids. Iranians care very much about like social status and wealth and things like that. So I tend to notice that like when I moved to LA, I've noticed the problem more when I moved to LA, where Iranians here are bougie. I'm not bougie at all. Like I hate bougie culture. I hate the overly materialistic shit. So I do notice that sometimes, like when I put myself out there, there is like this certain stigma that I feel, where they're like, oh yeah, like he's cool, I guess. And I will tell you this, the Iranian diaspora, I love them because I'm part of the diaspora. Like I grew up with a mini version of that in Connecticut, but I feel like whereas in like I make conscious music, I make music about myself and what I'm feeling and the stuff about Iran and heritage. I think a lot of Iranians, um, they like artists like Drake. You feel me? That's no disrespect to Drake, but like I think a lot of the times it's like Iranians, especially in LA, grew up in the upper, at the very lowest, like the upper middle class, to like really rich, like Beverly Hills style. You know what I mean? So like they don't understand like struggle as much. So I think like they don't really listen to struggle music. They listen to like entrepreneur hustle music. And that's exactly what Drake is. So I think like a lot of the times I'll see these Persian dudes on Instagram looking like fools. Like they all look the same. Like they have like the curly hair with the faded curly hair and they're leaning against their dad's like Mercedes Benz. And then in the captions, it's like a Drake lyric, right? Like I've seen this so many times. And I just think that not even unfortunately, honestly, I guess it's a blessing in a way because you're privileged. But I think Persian men growing up, my age and younger, relate more to that than they would to someone who's more like a rapper who's kind of, let's say, more like Tupac, right? And you see this in, uh, for example, like how many Iranians in the diaspora listen to a guy like Hichkas, for example, versus someone like Bezod Leto or Ali Reza JJ. And I'm not even throwing shade at those dudes, but that's a fact. Like people like numbing music more than like music with like material.
I mean, social media did change many things, and I mean, it's doing harm more than it's doing, it's healing anything. With the whole changing of, as you said, the no one wants to fix anything. They just want to feel basically, as you said, like high as possible. Uh, you said you point out that you moved to LA, and then you did point out certain things like this different. You were raised in an area that, I mean, you were raised in a country that like is less Persians, right?
Yeah.
But the area that you were is also way less Persian than LA is.
Oh
How
yeah.
how do you feel like the changes, like especially like my point is like the way people talk, what's like people
Yeah.
worries every single day, because people might worry about something else in the area that you were raised in than LA,
Yeah.
Persian LA's. So how do you see that?
And that's true. That's true. And that's the thing. Like, I don't even want to discount like the struggles of an LA Persian because at the end of the day, Iranians, no matter where you are in the U.S., to the typical white American, they view us as desert rats. Like I don't care if you live in LA or I don't care if you live in Connecticut, like where I grew up. It's like we're not seen as one of them, no matter how hard we try, right? So I again like so I don't want to like make my I don't I hope I didn't sound like pretentious when I was kind of like talking about LA Persians and they don't understand struggle. No, a lot of them definitely do. I was kind of talking about people like my age because our their parents, they immigrated here. They had to work their ass off, right? So no shade at them. I will say Connecticut Persians in Connecticut are not as extravagant as the Persians in LA. They're still Persian, like there's still a little bit of that cockiness, right? Like to the Persians that you do meet, but they're more laid back for sure. They're not as extravagant. I think their interests are different. Like we don't really fulfill those stereotypes, like the Persian stereotypes of the white BMW, right? Like we don't, that's not as big in Connecticut as it is like in LA.
Yeah, of course. I mean, that's one thing. Speaking of that, you did visit Seattle, so I'm gonna ask a question that people
Uh,
want to know. Since
sure.
you live there and then you live different area now, how do you see Iranians in Seattle? You
Yeah,
visited,
man.
talk to people.
I had good experiences. I stayed with my friend Omid. Shout out to Omid, and he was him and his family were, what I mean, like they took care of me well, and they made me feel like I'm at home. So, I'm very grateful. The few people that I did meet, including you, like I thought you all are very nice people. I went on a date with a girl actually too while I was up there, and it was a nice time. I do again the vibe, the energy of the Persians in Seattle were much different than uh, the energy in Los Angeles for sure. Again, they're still Persian, so there's still a little bit of that bouginess, right? But it's not as extravagant as it is as like compared to LA. That's a good thing, you know?
Yeah, that's true. And that's true. Seattle is like different. I mean, it's changing as we speak right now. But yeah, no, it's actually that's true.
Yeah.
Um, I want to go back to
I feel like I feel like people listening to this right now, they think I'm like a big LA Persian hater. Like they think I'm hating on like the Persian. I really don't, by the way. Like at the end of the day, like I have a group of friends that we've built a community out here, me and a few people, and they're all Persian, and I'm very proud to call them my friends and my tribe, and I love them to death. So
I mean, at the
yeah.
end of the day, LA, it is Tehran jealous. It's like the second
Yeah, it
second
is.
Iran, basically. Um, but yeah, no, LA is fun. LA is great. I mean, uh, going back to the what thing you were saying about like we were talking about you pursuing rap and the whole Iranians. Uh, we're interested. How do your parents react? How was like the whole thing? I mean, you probably
Yeah,
got asked this before,
yeah.
but I'm gonna ask it again. I want to know.
No, no, sure. No, no. It's a yeah, I mean, obviously they hated it in the beginning, no Persian parent wants their kid to be a musician, never mind a rapper, right? And I think, especially like with my circle of Persians that I grew up with, their kids were either they were going to med school or they were becoming engineers or something like that. And for my parents, it was very hard to accept for a long time. And I will tell you, like, when you stand up and you go on your own path against your parents' wishes, it will build character and it will break you down, but it'll also build you up, but eventually they came around. They really liked the Persian angle that I was taking with my music. They liked that I talk a lot about the stuff happening at home. And yeah.
Hmm.
So like now they support me. You know what I mean? So I'm blessed to have that.
I mean, yeah, when you say build character, of course, because Persians parents they always repeat it every single day. It doesn't matter how like if you become multi anything, they will still repeat it like, "You're still not a doctor. You're still not this." But yeah,
Yeah,
it's great. It's great to have a parent, especially Persian parents, support you in something else that they're like you're not okay with, but they're still supporting you.
absolutely. Yeah,
Um,
yeah.
what would you say to the parents that right now are dealing with that? Because there's still parents this day that could be, still it's still young parents, but they still don't
Yeah,
do that we need.
yeah. So I would say like, they're probably not gonna listen, but let your kid go on the hero's journey. If you want your kid to be like emotionally intelligent, if you want them to be like a well-rounded, grounded human being, you have to let them follow their heart to a degree. They might change their mind like and pursue something else, but if you don't let them, and let's say they end up listening to you and they go to med school or they go to whatever, they're going to resent you and they are not going to reach their full potential as a human being. It will hinder their confidence one way or another, right? Like they might get the med school, they might get the med degree and all that, but inside of them, they'll feel empty and they will take their anger out on you. You don't want that. So I say, let your kid make mistakes. Let your kid go out there and try things and get beat up a couple times. That's how we become men. And that's how, so yeah.
Uh, Great. I mean, as you said, especially Persian parents will not really listen to that.
No, of course not. Yeah, yeah.
They were
Like,
like,
hey, go Khordi Shaheen, exactly. Yeah.
no, that's one thing. Incidents. The main one was Masa Amini. How do you see your role as an artist, and then just your feedback on the whole thing?
Yeah, man. I mean, I just want to be a voice, what I mean, and try to, well, raise the voices of people who live in Iran. I think that's my responsibility. Is I can't obvious, I mean, like I can't speak as if I lived there, and because I would be lying, right? Like I have not struggled the same way that Iranians in Iran have struggled, but I always felt like it was my mission at least to play a part, uh, helping them achieve freedom, right? Whether that means using my voice to, uh, talk about this issue and just like speak to the soul of it. You know what I mean? Like, and maybe just raise awareness, get people talking about it more, get people thinking about it more. Uh, because I mean, to me, again, like that's what hip hop has always been about. Like a
And
lot of people who aren't even Iranian, right? Like they've messaged me and they're like, "Oh wow, like I didn't know like these are the things that's going on in Iran, and I appreciate you talking about it." So for me, like at least like I can raise awareness.
for sure, I mean, as much as Iranians are maybe don't listen to rap or hip hop, I feel like they always wait for them to speak up as soon as something happens. Especially,
Well, what became really revealing to me, right? And obviously, like my perspective of the Islamic Republic has not changed, right? Like they're evil, they're sick, they're twisted, they're disgusting, they're barbaric, and they need to be annihilated and just wiped out from the history books, right? Um, that has not changed. But I will tell you, man, I was in LA when the whole Masa Amini protest started. And it was a very fascinating thing to see because this is like the heart of Iran outside of Iran. It was fascinating to see because at first we came together and it was bittersweet. It was beautiful in a way because it was bitter because obviously like someone was killed, right? I mean, but it was beautiful, like marching with them, and people were beating on their drums, and we were chanting together. I met a lot of friends. You know what I mean? I met a lot of people, and all of a sudden, people who have different political opinions about different things were coming together, shaking hands. They were laughing with each other. Um, and that was really cool to see. What was really bad was how fast how temporary, how short-lived that was. Within a couple of months, it dissipated like that. It was gone. That unity was shattered. Like, we started fighting. We were fighting about things that we agreed on. So if me and you agree on an issue and we agree on what the issue is and even on what the solution is, we would fight with each other about it. Why? It was like, I hate the mullahs. Oh, well, I hate them more than you do, so fuck you. You know what I mean? Like it was a lot of that energy. And with the Iranians, it's very toxic because if you make any type of disagreement with anyone, it's like, oh, are you telling me that you support the mullahs of Iran? I'm like, what the fuck are you talking about? Right? It's like if you bring nuance into a conversation, people are like, what the fuck are you talking about? Right? So someone might say, oh, I think we should bomb Iran. No, I'm not saying that, but someone might say, oh, we should bomb Iran. And I'll be like, no, I don't think we should bomb Iran. I don't think that's going to work. And then they'll be like, what? Are you telling me that you support the Khamenei? I'm like, when the fuck did I say that, you moron? You feel me? Like, I don't like Donald Trump. Like, and it's if you go on my social media page, like, it's pretty obvious. Like, I have zero respect for the guy. And a lot of Iranians like are on their knees like for him. And I don't know. And when I express that I think that he's a clown, they're like, what? So you don't want to free Iran? I'm like, what the fuck? Are you retarded? Like, you think this guy is gonna come free you? Like, but on the other side, right? Like, you know, a lot of the people on the other side of the coin, though, right? It's like you have people who are against the regime, but they're also anti-Shah, you know?
Right.
And those people like could be problematic too because they don't want to hang out and include any voices that are pro-monarchy. And listen, like, I understand that you guys don't want a monarchy, and I understand and respect that, but we have to include all voices at the end of the day. We can't just exclude people that have a different opinion than you. I don't even know if I'm for a monarchy in Iran, you know? But the thing is also, I like to tell people who live in America, it's not our say. You know what I mean, bro? Like, man, I live in America. I'm never going to move to Iran. I don't have any intention on doing so. So I'm not going to sit here and tell you what I think the people of Iran should do. I'm not going to sit here and tell you that, oh, it needs to be the Shah, or, oh, it needs to be such and such person, because who the fuck am I? You feel me? And you know, this goes back to your other question. All I can do is raise your voice and talk about what you're going through to the people who live out here, right? That's all I can do. I'm not going to tell people like who to support. I'm not going to tell people like it should be that person, and if you don't support the Shah, then fuck you. Like, I'm not like that at all. But you know, the perspective that I gained is that Iranians are divided. We have no unity. We are judgmental. And it's unlike any other diaspora group. There is a disease, bro. You know, it's a disease, bro. Like, I don't know what your opinion is on the whole Palestine issue, the Israel-Palestine issue, but you have to give credit to Palestinians because they are so united in the U.S. and in the West. Like, their diaspora movements are so united. They're like this. Look at the massive movement they've built. They were able to convince a lot of people who aren't even Arab to wear the I don't know what it's called, the black and white scarf that they wear. You know, yeah, like, I have to give them credit for being able to mobilize like that to get other people that interested in your fight. Iranian people can't do that. Like, you know what I mean? It's like Iranian people, for some reason, have a very hard time communicating that our message to people, and a lot of that has to do with how divided we are.
That happened to Seattle, as you said, the fighting thing. There was an incident in Seattle that someone were just speaking about like who started this event. Do you remember there was an event that the whole world, all Persians were gathering in their downtown and protesting?
Yeah,
There was a page about like, you know, this location, this address, this time. Like someone was doing
yeah,
it at one point. And then long story short, someone was like, "Oh no, that's what the prince did." You know, the prince,
yeah, yeah,
and
yeah,
the other guy was like, technically no, like he didn't do it. The other guy did it, and he turned back and cussed at the other guy. I'm like, at this moment,
yeah.
both you guys are here to you know support the whole movement, and you guys
Yeah.
fight.
It's I don't know what to say, man. You know what I mean? Like, I think, and I said this like a few minutes ago, is that if you don't, and by the way, I like Reza Pahlavi. I like his father. I like his grandfather. I think they have done amazing things for the country, and they were definitely misunderstood leaders. And again, like, look at this. I mean, you know what I mean? I got this thing represented, represented. And at the same time, I feel like we shouldn't push people out for having different opinions. Who cares who organized that fucking event? You're all there to, to come together to fight against the regime, to protest against the regime. What the fuck difference does that make whether it's Reza Pahlavi or Hamid Ismailion, right? We're all in this together. This is the problem with the Iranians too. It's like we're drowning in conspiracy theories. That even Tumaj, now they think Tumaj is with the regime. What the fuck? What the fuck? And there's this other girl, and I'm sorry because I don't know her last name. Her first name is Nargis. She was in prison. I don't know if she's still in or if she got out under certain conditions, but now they're saying she's with the regime too. It seems like anyone that's not like, sucking on Reza Pahlavi's cock is like, oh, they're with the regime, And
Right.
again, and I don't mean that in any disrespect. I have a lot of respect for the crown prince. If he ends up becoming our next leader, great, dope. I mean, you know what I mean? Cool. I think that one of the problem with Iranians too is that we're idol worshippers by nature. It's like you know what I mean? Like we always have to praise someone like they're gods, and yeah, I don't know, man. I don't like that.
At the end of the day, everyone wants peace, safety, and something like a family. And people are here taking sides. As you said, regardless, we're here to support the whole,
Yeah.
like humans. That's like we are supporting basically.
But it's crazy, right? Because you go like these Palestinians, like they don't like when their country is getting bombed, they don't fight with each other in the diaspora about, oh, like who should be our next leader, blah blah blah, oh, this and that. It's like they're coming together to protest what's happening to them. Again, like I don't know that much about the Israel-Palestine conflict. I'm not going to talk too much about that. But again, like I'm very fascinated with the Palestinian diaspora's ability to assemble, mobilize, and get people involved. And they're united at the end of the day. Iranians are not able to do that because we are so fucking divided and we fight over stupid things. Let me tell you something else. Even in LA, especially in LA, there was a protest on Masa Amini's the anniversary of her death. I think this was on her 1 year death anniversary. Iranians have such a big ego that we couldn't even agree on a spot to protest. A big group of people wanted to protest in this little spot in this area called Sherman Oaks. right? And then a big group of people wanted to protest in downtown LA. So now we have a fractured protest where neither of the protests look big because they want, oh, I want to go to this one. Now I want to go to that one. Like, oh, if you're a real Iranian, you would go to this one. Fake Iranians go to that protest. It's like, shut the fuck up. You know? It's funny. By the way, like, I love Iranian people. I really do. At the end of the day, it's like, I get so angry because I care. You know what I mean? It's like I care. I care for us. I care for our community. When I see videos of people who live in Iran, like I feel so many emotions that when I see the fuckery that goes on here, I just get mad, you know?
Naturally. I mean, the thing that you described about LA it was the same thing here in Seattle. It was,
Yeah.
like the divide, they went to a different area, there was a different area. But yeah, we need to get divided. Sorry, we need to get together and don't be divided
Yeah.
in order to change something. As we
Yeah.
know, we learned at a young age, but our culture is kind of. But we wish the best for Iran and Iranian people. And as you said, we're not in a position of saying this and that just because we don't. I mean, we don't live there, as you said. But I don't want to get too into it more, just because we're just not allowed to get into it more. But we love the support. We saw it. We saw the support that you had, and all the Iranian others did. I mean, there was a big movement. It took within a couple weeks. Everyone was just loud with it. I mean, it got packed. A lot. Basically, I feel like we should be more. It should be more, but I feel like we did enough at that moment. But it was enough that moment. But when you still need to get it done. We're still not done. There's still not as much as the changes that we need to. I mean, the hijab thing in Iran kind of changed. I don't know if you notice it. They're more
Yeah.
open, they're not bothering. I mean, hijab is the basic thing, and they're talking. That's the one thing. But
I
yeah,
think people focus on hijab because it's visual. You know what I mean? It's like you could see the oppression. Where I mean, there are a lot of fucked up laws, in Iran, but I think it's like the hijab is like a visual symbol of oppression because if you're telling people how to dress, how to act, how to walk, how to talk, you know what I mean, what to put on your head, that's oppression.
right.
So, I think like when you can visually see it, and that's why people talk about it so much.
That's true. That's true. Let's go. To go back to your music. What's next for your upcoming music? Anything that you want to let our audience know? Anything that you're working on? And
Absolutely, man. Yeah, sure. I just dropped a song last week called "From the Ashes" too. It's a sequel to a song I did back in 2018, and it's really just about walking into little parts of my past and um, looking at it and understanding maybe why do I have some of the habits I still have today, right? Like um, if I seem timid at times, or if I'm um, angry, or if I'm reserved, where does that come from? And what pain has that caused me? You feel me?
right,
And I think, and I talk a little bit about Iran in that too, because it's like, our parents came from Iran and they went through a lot of shit and they passed it down to us, you know? Um, so I talk a lot about that in that song, and I encourage y'all to check it out. It's on Spotify, Apple Music, YouTube Music, Amazon Music, whatever the fuck you guys use. But I also have another song coming up. I haven't officially announced it yet. I don't know when this podcast is gonna air. Like, is it gonna air like in a few days or in a few months or
probably give it a week. Within a week.
in a week? Okay, so yeah, I don't think I'm gonna announce the song by then, but I do have another song coming up as well. So my goal is this year is to release a song every 6 weeks. So I encourage you to, like, always stay in touch. Go on my Instagram. I'll always be posting new content. I'll always be posting new music, and yeah.
I will ask you one more question, and
Mhm.
then I have other questions I'm gonna ask, and I
Oh
want
yeah.
answers for it. The first one I'm gonna ask you is the last question that's maybe details. If you could make a music with anyone, dead or alive, who would it be?
Like Iranian or like an anyone?
Anyone.
Um,
And why? Sorry, and why?
and why? I mean, I know this is like it might sound like a cliche, um, answer, but definitely Eminem. I
Mhm.
mean, Eminem is like, like he, when I was growing up, he was like a god to me. You know what I mean? Like I had like Eminem posters in my childhood bedroom. I was basically Stan, except that I wasn't writing letters, but his music moved me. It inspired me. It helped me connect to little pieces of me that I knew I was suppressing. I And also he's just simply the best to ever do it. Objectively, he's like one of the best MCs of all time. So by getting on a track with him, not only would it be a dope song, but I just think that I would improve so much as a writer, as a lyricist, as a vocalist, just being in the studio with Marshall Mathers. You know what I mean? Like, what an experience that would be. And honestly, like, if Eminem thinks I'm dope, no one can say shit to me. So
That's true. I mean, Eminem. That's true. That's true for sure.
yeah,
Awesome. Thank you. I got a small question. Sorry, I got questions with the short answers that I need for. I will use a
okay,
fun thing that I feel like Persian.
yeah.
Favorite Persian dish.
Oh, okay. I want to stay away from the cliche kebab and stuff like that because everyone says kebab, you know? You know, I will die on this hill. You know what my fucking favorite dish is? Khorish karafs, okay? It's awesome. It's great. It's better than horm sabzi. Fuck you if you disagree. Like, I love it. And maybe I love it the way my mom makes it, but yeah.
No, I mean, a lot of people hate and don't like horse carafs. They like gourmet sabzi and they hate it.
Yeah, man, those people are fucked up. Like, I don't understand, bro. Everyone shits on Khorish Karafs, but it's probably because their moms were really bad at making it. You know, like my mom knew how to make it so good, and like what I mean. When I was a kid, she'd be like, "Yo, like if you're a good boy, I'll make you Khorish Karafs." You know what I mean? Like, and if I wasn't a good boy, she would make me like Fis and June because I hate Fis and June. So yeah, man, Khorish Karafs for the win.
I love your honesty, but a lot of Persian people will get mad at you with
Go
that.
Jordan. Go Jordan. You know what I mean? Like, I love Jorge Caras. Yeah, no.
Um, Dream venue to perform at. Venue that you want to perform at.
You ready for this?
Yes.
Takhta Jamshid, Persepolis. I would love to, if Iran is free, to set up a stage there and just perform in where our ancestors fought and where our ancestors, lived.
I
That
would
would be
love to see that.
so beautiful. Yeah,
Love to see that. Especially
yeah,
with the beautiful, just the whole art. There's
yeah.
old school rap or new school rap.
Uh, I mean, I think it depends on what you define old school and new school. I don't like. I'm not that big on trap. Um, I'm not big on auto tune rappers. Um, that's I don't mean that in any disrespect. If you do that, great. There are a lot of people that like your music. There are a lot of people that are impacted by your music, and much love and respect to you. I don't really like it that much, so I guess like you could say I'm more old school. Like you said, like I like Nas, I like Big, I like Tupac, I like Eminem. But when it comes to new school rappers, like I like, I don't know if you consider J. Cole new school, Kendrick Lamar, Logic, Joyner Lucas. I'm a big guy. I love Joyner Lucas. I think he definitely influenced me. Mike Shinoda, right, from Linkin Park. I think he's more old school by now, but like, I love that stuff. And really just me as a 31-year-old trying to figure out, okay, like, how can I take the old, make it new, but sound more modern, you know?
I mean, new school rap would be Drake. Kind of. I mean,
Okay.
in my opinion, he's not old school. He's just more new. Tupac is, of course,
Old
old
school.
school. I mean, 50 Cent would be old school in my opinion. The whole vibe that they have. Tehran or LA?
Yeah, you know, I think it's hard because music is music. And like some people tell me I sound old school. I don't think I sound old school. I definitely don't sound like a trap artist. You know what I mean? I don't do drill or nothing like that. But like I just feel like I just make music that I like. You know, I just make music that comes from the heart, whether you want to call it new school or old school.
If you weren't making music, what would you be doing right now?
If what?
If you weren't making music.
If I wasn't making music, uh I don't have an answer to that because
You know
like
what I'm saying?
I thought about this. I've been thinking about this question for the last like 10 plus years, you know. Music is such a big part of my identity that I do not see a life outside of it. I just don't. It's who I am, and I'm glad you asked me that because when I just answered you, it just felt reaffirming. You know, I just felt something just saying that. It's like I'm nothing without this.
Favorite line that you ever written?
Oh man. Oh man. All right. All right. This isn't political, but I just I love saying it because the way it rhymes, it sounds cool. Uh it's like getting the Persian women wetter than the Caspian Sea. It's the life of a Persian king, motherfucker. Pass me the tea. Like I just think that's a dope line. No, like I just like it's dope, you know? I like it. It's fun.
That's dope. Thank you for being on our podcast. It was a pleasure speaking with you. It was an honor.
Thank you
Uh,
for having me, man.
we wish you the best. We support
Thank
you.
you.
Stay grinding. It's great. Please.
Thanks, man. And I'm really honored you had me on your show.
Thank you. Thank you again.